Welcome back to the reading vlog. It is Monday afternoon actually, which is kind of nice. It is, well, I'm back to working full time. My knee is still not 100%, but it is incredibly slowly getting better. Like, hopefully I'm not plateauing, but yeah. So the reading will probably be a little bit more chaotic this week. I did read a really lovely romance yesterday. It's called Adopt a Vampire by H.G. Sherwood, I think is the name. Let me look up the author correctly. Yes, A.G. Sherwood. It was a really lovely story. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's about a vampire who got turned 6 years ago, and the vampire who turned him vanished after 2 days, and he didn't teach him anything. So he had no idea how to safely feed from humans without hurting them, and so he didn't eat actually, and he subsisted on coconut water, which means he is really emaciated and pretty like near death's door at the point where the story starts, and he gets kind of adopted by the local werewolf pack, which kind of behave like wolf shifters who feel more of a urge to shift on full moons. That is how the werewolves work in this universe. And they take him in, and our vampire falls in love with the alpha werewolf, which also falls in love with him. The story is more on the like funny, fluffy side, though there is some drama with the local vampire pack and the witch's coven and the history of our vampire, how he got turned and stuff like that. The spice was pretty little. They kept getting interrupted. But it was a really lovely story, and I really liked all of the characters, and it felt kind of like a slice of life romance, and with like the supernatural aspects, and it was really sweet, and I really liked it. I'm kind of sad there's one book that is like a crossover with it, but it's not in the kind of unlimited thing. So yeah, but that was super lovely. And then I already found the one I'm reading today, which is called The Husband Experience, which is about a guy who lost his husband 3 years ago, and he is now ready to date again, and he doesn't really know how to start dating. And his cousin is like, well, I used this fake boyfriend service, which is like an escort service, so with sexual favors. And, you know, just use the service for a week and see if that gives you the confidence to actually approach other people again. And then the guy who sent us the husband experience obviously falls in love with the guy, and the guy with him. It sounds really sweet, so I'm excited to read that today, you know. Which also romance will probably be most of what I read this week, because getting back into working full time and all of that, I don't know. Like, I'm not super excited about my TBR at the moment, like my complete physical TBR, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, maybe I will just read as much romance as my heart contends to, and then if I get the urge to pick up a physical read, I will do that then. Other than that, I got my new piercings today. I got me this like really sparkly flower design for my septum, and then 2 green jewels for these ones, because I swallowed my last piercing accidentally. So yeah, these are now the ones you have to twist to get them on, so I shouldn't be able to swallow them by eating a burger. But yeah, other than that, this week is gonna be full of projects. I am still continuing and working on my cross stitch, which I filled in a lot of the ivory colors here, and I am getting pretty good on this part, so I can continue over this side. And so yeah, I'm making good progress. Also with the other one, but that is currently put away. Though I can show you what it's put away in, because I finished my crochet project bag, and I absolutely love it. So I will probably do a couple of more of these for all of my cross stitch projects, because I have the fabric in here, and then I have all of the floss in here, and it all fits wonderfully, and I really like how it's looking. And then the other project I'm working on is actually making wisteria garlands. I'm crocheting them. I'm currently working on the leaf part, which I'm thinking it's turning out really, really nice. I really like how it's looking. So yeah, that is what I'm currently working on. And then the wisteria itself will be in this color. And I'm super excited for that because I wanted to do that for a long time as like decorations for my room because I love those flower garlands. And I finally have found the correct yarn to do it with. This is like a really lovely cotton. So yeah, those are all of the projects for this week. We'll see how far we can get with everything. But yeah, I will now continue with my flower garland, probably start the wisteria so I can get a good idea at how it will be looking like the wisteria part of the garland, and enjoy my afternoon, you know, because it is already afternoon. You know, I'm kind of sad that I now have less time for my hobbies again, but you know, I have to earn my money somehow. So yeah, I will see you tomorrow with the reading update from the husband experience. Hopefully it's as good as it sounds, because I do like a good fake dating story. I just like it if it's not like a big lie to everybody at the end, you know? So yeah, I don't really know how to describe it, but the husband experience sounds wonderful, and it is a series, so maybe if I love the first one I can read the rest in the series. So yeah, we'll see. So sadly the husband experience isn't quite what I had hoped for. I'm not quite meshing with the characters. I'm roughly around like 30%. The guy who is like the husband, the bored husband, he's really pouty. He's like really, he's annoyed that they aren't like straight up having sex straight from the beginning. And the guy who ordered the husband, I think, isn't quite sure like if he really wanted to do that. Like he wanted to, but for him, I think it's more like having another person there, much more than everything else. And so it has been a really weird, I don't know, they behave really like stilted and weird towards one another because one wants to take it kind of slowly and the other one wants to jump the bones of the other guy. Both are attracted to one another, which like obviously they are getting together at the end of it. But yeah, and now I'm at the point where like they are sleeping together for the first time because the guy who hired the other guy is like, okay, he really wants to sleep with me, so yeah. I mean, obviously I also want to sleep with him, but like, let's do it because he's never gonna stop pouting, which I feel like is like a weird start into a relationship, even if it's fake at this point. And I also don't get why the guy who was hired expects to like it to be like non-stop sex, because I mean technically he's ordered for that, but I feel like you can't expect everybody to want that. And then the other thing is that normally they get like an information sheet on the guy that they are hired by, and he didn't get that, so he doesn't know that his husband died and that he's single. And so he's realizing like that the other guy has like a tan line where the wedding ring was, because he only took it off a couple of weeks ago. And so I guess that will probably be like a drama point in the book, which I'm kind of annoyed about. So yeah, I don't know. I will probably continue with it, but I didn't love it yesterday. So I started another one, which is like a lot more fun to read, to be honest. And that is called Trading Me, which is a book about an author who's kind of on the more quirky side. He has ADHD. He has a hard time keeping track of things, and so his home has become kind of problematic because he keeps getting distracted. And so one drunken night, he and his editor get the idea to put like an ad in a paper exchanging housework for books, because that is what he has. And I think he writes smuttier romance, I think at least. And one of his fans answers the ad in the paper, who is like early retired, I think, and doesn't really have much to do, and he loves to the books, and he's like waiting on like new series from like side characters and stuff like that. And so he's like, I have time. I am really intrigued by the author, and so let's answer the ad and look at it. And they meet in like a cafe, and both are like really attracted to the other one. The author is like small, quirky, twink-ish, and the other one is like the dominant one, definitely. And they straight from the beginning they are like talking about sex, but like because they're in a cafe, they talk about it in like code words and stuff like that, but it's like a really funny conversation because they have this like conversation about like cleaning and bartering, what one will do for how much of the other, and then they go straight from there into like sleeping together, like planning it out actually. And the author wanting to do research into like a particular kink, I think. I don't know the word in the story, and I'm not Googling it to let myself be surprised what the kink is in the book. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's a really funny book, and both characters are kind of weird. But I like the good kind of weird because both are not afraid to talk about what they want, but they are still conscious that maybe the other would not want to talk about it, and so they are careful but incredibly open about what they want. And it's just funny how they talk and what they assume in like a positive note. And so yeah, that is really funny, and I'm really excited to continue that because I stopped at the point where they are now currently looking at the author's house, so that Ronan, the other guy, knows what he is supposed to do and can then barter for more because the house is like really a catastrophe. So yeah, I'm super excited to continue with that one at least, which is great. So I'm going to enjoy that one, and then we'll see if I maybe search for another one because really like the husband experience. It's not bad, but it's also not like calling to me. And obviously, if I read a romance, I really want to enjoy it. So yeah, I might look into more books of the of Shaw Montgomery, which is the author of Trading Me, because that one I'm enjoying so much. So maybe I can just read more of their books. We'll see. Other than that, I continued with my garland, and I also finished my first wisteria thingy. I don't know if I love it. I'm kind of unsure. I mean, it kind of looks like what it's supposed to look like, and obviously they come in like a cluster, so it's not like alone, but I'm also not like 100% sure. And I don't know. It's like, I mean, if you put it like this, like maybe. I have to see. I'm just gonna do more and then I will decide. I can take them apart if I don't like them, But yeah, I'm excited to work on that one. I did my cross-stitching for today. I will just show you an update on that one at the end of the week because you can't really see much until I get to the end of the week because I do 200 stitches a day, and that isn't super much if you think about the fact that the one I'm doing is like 140,000 stitches in total, so 200 isn't much of the picture. But yeah, that is kind of what I'm up to today, and then I will finish Trading Me, and we'll talk about that tomorrow because I'm super excited to see where the book is going because it's just funny. It is also really, I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be really spicy, which I'm enjoying, and slightly kinky, which I'm always open for a new kink in a book. I do enjoy the openness that romance authors and smart authors have towards the kinkier side of people. It is super interesting to read about, so I'm super excited for that. And then we'll see what I can find from the author. And yeah, we'll see. Work is fine. And yeah, that is kind of the update. So I will see you once I finish trading. Okay, so sadly there was more disappointment on the book front. I continued with the Traded In book I talked to you about yesterday. I think I'm at the point where I'm getting at that it's more smut than romance, which I'm not opposed to, though I am realizing that I like my smut on the shorter side because Traded In has like 240 pages. And I am at like 40% through the book, and we have just one scene after another. There is next to no story between those, and that is just actually too much for me. I would like to have the characters talk about anything other than having a scene. I think I don't know if I will continue with that one. Not because it's a bad book, it's definitely not. It's really interesting if you're into like kinky scenes, and they go like the scenes that they are doing are the scenes that the author has written into his books, which is super interesting because both know the words to the scenes, because one is a reader, one is the author, and so they have a lot of fun with them. But for me, it's just not interesting enough. I want to have at least a little bit of like conversation around that, and that is not what you're getting with the book, at least so far in. And yeah, that's just not as interesting to me. So I don't know if I will finish that one. I have to see. But yeah, it was rather disappointing at that point, because yeah, I had hoped for it to be more of the funny banter between stuff. But yeah, so far, sadly, that is not what I'm getting. But I love the characters, so I'm actually super happy to try more of their books. And I realized, actually, under their alias, that is like Shaw Montgomery is their one name, and then they're also writing under M.A. Innes, and I've actually read books by them already. So I am looking also into the other books from them under like both of their aliases technically. But yeah, so I'm not super into that. But what I did pick up then, because I really like the characters, is I now lent Garrett, which is Bound and Controlled Book 1, which is a kinky series, but they are on the shorter side. Like this one is 150 pages, so I thought maybe if the story is too long for me and trade it in, we can try that one. And that is about Garrett and Wyatt, where one is an insurance agent and the other one is his, like he has an insurance by him, and Wyatt is like kind of getting obsessed about Garrett, and Garrett is a dom in the scene. And yeah, there isn't really much else said about it so far as I can tell, but I have the hope that like 150 pages is much more of a realistic page amount if it's on the smuttier side. I think that might work out better for me. So we'll see. That is what I will start today. I probably won't finish it today because I have a phone call with my best friend. So like a video chat. So I probably won't get a lot of reading in tonight at all. And until then, I'm mainly cross-stitching today. I'm like really in a cross-stitch mood, which is also why I have done more than I thought I would, so I can actually give you an update on the cross-stitching. I'm trying to get to the other side, so I have kind of a feeling of how wide the map is, and so I can work like downwards across the whole space. So that is what I'm currently working on, which is the mountain, I think, or the quarry. I'm not quite sure right now. But yes, I'm working on the green, on the gray here, and then I have done a little bit more of the green here, and this empty space is where the train station actually comes into Stardew Valley. So yeah, that is what I'm working on, and then I will take a pause to edit, and then we'll see how it will continue. But yeah, I had a funny interaction with the package guy. I'm alone home today because my partner is at the office with the dog, and my partner ordered weight plates for his what is the name? It's Handel in German. I forgot what the name is. Like to do, curls and stuff, the weight you put in your hands. He ordered new plates for that, and when the guy came up and he saw me standing in the doorway, he was like, you need to be careful, the package is really, really heavy. And I was like, yeah, I know, it's not a problem. And then he gave me the package, and I had an easier time carrying it than him, and he looked pretty shocked, which was kind of funny. So yeah, training is actually getting me results. I'm actually having visible muscles now, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, I am, I think, in my, like, the strongest, healthiest I've ever been, which is kind of funny considering my knee is still hurt and I have, a lot of health trouble, but like muscle-wise and feeling stronger, like I'm the best that I've ever been, which is kind of exciting. So yeah, I will now get back to cross-stitching. I might be losing my reading mojo. I don't know. I think I have like 6 started romances. I don't know. Once I'm like partway through, I lose all interest. I didn't finish any of them. I'm like between like 20 and 60% on all of them. It's annoying. I reread Eternally Sin, I think is the name, which is like the vampire assassin. Immortal Assassins is the name of the series, which like I reread that because I was so frustrated at some point that none of the ones that I downloaded were doing anything for me. They weren't even bad. It was just like at some point in the book I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know, I couldn't care less. I can't even tell you why. It is annoying. The week has been, I don't know. I don't know. For everyone who is like kind of estranged from the family, I got like a text message from my dad who I haven't talked to for a year and a half. He still doesn't understand why I won't talk to him, which was nice. I unloaded on him in a text message because I felt it was necessary, and I have been angry ever since. I don't know. How is it that I have to be the adult in the relationship, You would think it's the one that put you on Earth, but it is not in this case, and it is still getting to me, which I'm equally annoyed about. So yeah, if you are estranged from some members of your family, you probably know how it feels. It's sucky because I don't want to let him ruin my mood, but it is, when somebody like writes you out of the blue and it is still an accusation. Yeah, it's not fun. So that has also been keeping my mood down. I did actually start some physical reading, but I only read 10 pages. But you know what? 10 pages is more than nothing. This is the Brandon Sanderson short story collection. They are a little bit longer than like the short stories I love in my short story collection. I am currently reading Snapshot, which is 68 pages long, so they are all different lengths. But yeah, Snapshot seems to be about a city that has an underground structure beneath it that they are using to use the Snapshot project, which recreates a point in time so that you can like everything is like super realistic. Like the things are there, the people are there, but they are like carbon copies of the real world. And then our 2 main characters are cops who walk through that and try to solve criminal cases while like going through it. And then it has something to do with like deviations and like if you introduce deviations that can like make or break the case pretty much in front of the court. It did kind of remind me about the thing in Resident Evil in one of the movies, which is also this like simulation underneath, but like with real zombies in that case, and not like, but they are real, the people that live in this snapshot thing, because they are like physically there and they are people, but like they are carbon copies of the people outside of the simulation. It's interesting. It's really sci-fi. I'm imagining it like some like what is the name? Something noir. Film noir, is that the right? The black and white cop movies. I don't know. I imagine it like that, even though it probably won't be like that. But yeah. So I've read the first chapter, which is what I told you about, and yeah, that is enough physical reading for me today. I'm thinking if these vlogs are even interesting if I don't talk about a lot of reading. I don't know. I am doing a lot more stitching and gaming right now because that seems to be keeping my head at bay a lot better, which, is what I need right now, let's be honest. I did try out my roller skates today. I can roller skate again with my knee, which I'm super happy about. I'm making progress, which is great. I also introduced my workouts back, which is also great. I can nearly do a chin-up, which I'm super proud of. So yeah, on that front, I'm making good progress. like physically I feel good, like muscle sports wise, but yeah, mentally has been a struggle. Let me show you my progress with the Stardew Valley cross stitch. I have now made my way across, so this is the full width of the piece, and we have a lot of like hills and mountains here, and then yeah, sadly a lot of the colors that need to fill this in I don't have yet, so I will only order them for next month because I spent all of my hobby budget this month, so no ordering hobby supplies anymore this month, so I will have to wait for that, but I have a lot of other colors still I can stitch. But yeah, I am making good progress with this one, which I'm super happy about. And then the other one is looking like this right now, which I'm making really good progress on the beige parts, which are really, like, they tend to get boring, but I know it will look really good in the end, so I'm making do, you know? And then I did also make quite a bit of progress on my vine that I'm currently crocheting, so that is also great. So yeah, I'm making a lot of progress on like all of my hobbies instead of the reading, which with the romances it's just hit or miss, and I will continue all of the ones I started. Like, well, I will only stop them if I really dislike them, but I think it's more of I have a hard time getting into a book right now, and it feels unfair towards the books, but I don't really know what to change about it, other than maybe read less and hope that I'm getting my reading mojo back at some point. I don't know. I really don't. But yeah, that is where we're at right now. I will check in with you if I manage to do any other reading, which probably I won't. And yeah, I will spend the rest of the day playing the TCG card shop simulator, because opening cards, like Pokemon cards and stuff, is really expensive in the real world, so I'm just gonna play the video game. And yeah, I will see you in a little bit. It is now Saturday afternoon. I have spent the morning at the Nature Museum here in Berlin, which was really nice. We have a little bit of footage that I will just like throw you over top of me talking, but we did see some pretty cool dinosaurs. We have like a pretty, not complete, but like a pretty full T-Rex skeleton in the museum, which was really cool looking. And then we had like the Triceratops head, which was like super amazing. I would have loved to be a paleontologist. Didn't turn out the way, but that's fine. But yeah, I love paleontology, so it was a lot of fun. And they had some really interesting like things to see about like how you prepare and termodexy animals and stuff like that. I would never do that, but I still think it's like an interesting process to see. And then they had the bird collection to look at, and yeah, it was really interesting. After that, we had pretty much like a roller coaster of emotions today. We went to a gluten-free bakery, which I also have some footage of the things that I bought. Sadly, they didn't taste good at all, which was a bust, and I paid a lot of money for that. It was not cheap, and I didn't like any of them, which sucks. So yeah, I don't know. Now I'm hungry and hurt by that, you know. I did buy a book at the museum because obviously I can never go somewhere and not buy a book. I bought The Secret Life of Fungi, Discoveries from a Hidden World by Aaliyah Whitley. This sounded super interesting, and I am really in the mood for like a non-fiction. So I thought, you know what, let me buy this. They had like really interesting pictures of fungi in the collection. So it felt pretty fitting. So yeah, that is what I bought at the museum gift shop. And yeah, other than that, I'm emotionally exhausted from this week. I didn't do any physical reading today because I just didn't have time. Don't know when I will do that. I did not finish a romance. I started a couple, but yeah, they didn't, like, none of them really spoke to me, to be honest, so I don't really know what to do there. Yeah, I don't know. Can I even talk about? I don't know. One was like two best friends, where one is gay but hasn't come out to his best friend. He comes out at the beginning of the book and then wants to start actually dating. And his best friend is messing up every date because he thinks nobody's good enough for him, and then slowly realizes that he's in love with him. That I will continue, but like I started it so late that I wasn't really that far into it. And before that, I read Fakers with Benefits by Willow Dixon, but I don't know, that just felt kind of awkward, the book. It's about a millionaire or billionaire who needs like a date because he only gets his inheritance if he has a partner, and for like 90 days or something like that, and he is at this strip club and he asked the stripper for, like, you know, be his fake boyfriend, without like they set up like a whole contract, nothing sexual is supposed to happen, blah blah blah, and then they I've read like till the first event was like over, and it was just really awkward. I couldn't get into it at all. It's not really that I dislike the characters, but they also weren't the most likable. So yeah, it was really weird. Couldn't really get into it. And then the last one I started was called An Umbrella Drink Kind of Night, and that one I'm also still reading. That is about two guys who got stood up by their dates at the same bar, and so they start talking then, and they kind of hit it off from there. It is like the Daddy Boy King thing, but the more I read about it, the more I get why people read it, because it's just obviously with a lot more caretaking, and it's a lot like on the sweeter side of relationships, because one wants to take care of everything and the other one just has to let go and relax and go with the flow, so it works out kind of well. So I think I'm like 60% through that book, so I will continue with those two. But yeah, I just didn't make it through any because I was so tired, and yeah, some personal stuff that is like keeping me emotionally exhausted, which is not a place to be, but hopefully that is done in a little bit so I can get back to normal again. Cross-stitching wise, I have gotten quite a bit done with the Stardew Valley map. Sadly, like, I'm missing like a lot of colors, which I already talked about, but yeah, it's kind of irking me. But this is how far I have come. I am now at roughly 11% of the cross stitch. And then I also did continue with the with my flower vine. Let me show you. It is pretty repetitive, so I'm doing it here and there, and not like as like a project I'm like working on for like a couple of hours, because for that, to be honest, it's just too repetitive. But oh my god, I took it with me in the car to have something to do while it's in the car, so it is a little bit tangled. So this is the current length, so I added quite a bit to it. But yeah, obviously it's a work in progress. It will take me a little while to get through it, because obviously you only ever do like the two leaves and then the space between the leaves, so it's really repetitive, but I also don't have to read the pattern because I know it inside and out now. So I will probably just finish till like the length will probably be finished once I'm through these two. Who knows how long that will take, but it is a nice like on-the-go project that I can take everywhere because I don't need to read anything to do it, which is kind of nice, you know. So those are all of the crafty updates. And yeah, I will probably relax the rest of the day because I am tired. But my knee did really well. It's still not pain-free, but it is doing a lot better than it was before, which is nice. So yeah, I will just chill. Maybe finally make myself something to eat. I haven't eaten yet. I wanted to eat the cake as like my midday meal and then cook something in the evening, but because I didn't eat the cake, I'm now really hungry and I'm not motivated to cook because I don't like cooking. So yeah, I have to fix that. And yeah, I hope this vlog was still interesting, even though there was incredibly little reading actually being done this week. But yeah, it was just a chaotic, emotionally intense week, so that will happen. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.